Whispers in the void. The meeting hall of the Galactic Council was never silent. There were always voices, some loud, some low, arguing, planning, or just trying to be heard. But today, something felt wrong. Even the air seemed heavy, like it carried a secret no one wanted to say out loud. High above the stars, inside a massive space station that floated like a jewel between systems, the leaders of 50 worlds gathered. They were waiting for a report, one that had already been delayed by several hours. No one said it, but they all feared the reason. A tall, gray-skinned being with long arms and glowing eyes finally stood up. He was from the Rulon species and held a high position in the council. "We must begin. The delay from Sector 17 is unacceptable." Another counselor, shorter and with scaled skin, raised her hand. "They were observing Earth, you know what that means." The room became quiet. Earth, a planet most of the council had ignored for decades. It was known as a death world, a dangerous place with harsh environments, aggressive wildlife, and a strange species called humans. At first, they were thought to be simple and emotional, but over time reports started showing something else, something strange. Before anyone could speak again, a soft alarm echoed through the room. A hologram came to life in the center of the hall. It showed a shaky video, likely recorded in panic. The image zoomed in on the dark side of a gas giant. Behind its shadows, something moved. The object came into view. It was a ship, massive, black as night, and shaped like no known design. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, and strange. Symbols glowed along its side. No thrusters, no visible weapons, and yet it moved fast. Too fast. The recording stopped. A robotic voice followed. "Unknown vessel observed. Origin, Earth. Technology, not in Council archives. Movement, beyond known limits. Message attached." A short audio clip played. It was human, calm, confident. "This is Earth Fleet Unit 0. We are here. Do not interfere." The counselors stared, shocked. Someone whispered, "Unit 0? What does that even mean?" One of the oldest members, a quiet figure with skin like polished stone, finally spoke. "It means it's their first. And if that's their first, we have a problem." Another voice shouted, "This ship, it bends space like a star eater. It shouldn't be possible." The Rulon leader slammed his fist on the table. "We must act. Earth was not allowed to build weapons. We gave them the treaty." "But we never checked," the stone-skinned elder said. "We watched from afar. We assumed they were quiet, that they gave up. Now they all realized the truth. Earth had not given up. Earth had gone silent to grow in the shadows." The panic began to rise. Species that had ruled the stars for thousands of years now faced a threat that didn't match any logic. Ships like this weren't just new, they were impossible. And still that calm voice echoed in their minds. "We are here. Do not interfere." One of the younger members, from a watery world, asked the question all feared. "If this is one ship, how many do they really have?" No one answered. No one could. Suddenly a second alarm blared. A new report appeared. 2 more ships had just arrived. Bigger, faster, silent, all from Earth. And with them, a signal, broadcast across all council frequencies. "We did not ask for permission. We did not wait for approval. This is no longer your galaxy alone." The Galactic Council sat frozen. What they had feared was no longer a possibility. It was now a fact. Earth had risen. Not with diplomacy, not with words, with ships that broke, logic and fear behind closed doors. The emergency lights in the council hall turned red. That had not happened in over 200 years, not since the war with the Traylons, a species now long extinct. Leaders and envoys rushed from the center chamber to smaller, private rooms. Each species needed answers, but there were none. The only truth was that Earth now had ships the Council could not explain, detect, or stop. In a small, secure room, 5 of the highest-ranking counselors gathered. They were known as the Core 5, representatives from the oldest and strongest empires in the galaxy. One of them, a tall female from the Lithari system, broke the silence. We underestimated the humans. The one beside her, with golden eyes and feathers instead of hair, growled softly. No, we ignored them. We laughed when they called themselves ready. And now, they are. A hologram flickered on. A technical report tried to analyze the ships. It failed. Propulsion. Unknown energy source. Unknown hull composition. Unstable reading, possible artificial gravity manipulation threat level. Immeasurable. The words felt unreal. Ships like this only existed in myths and stories told by old captains who had seen too much space. We must contain Earth, one said firmly. But the feathered envoy shook her head. Contain? With what? Every ship we send vanishes before reaching their orbit. Every probe is disabled before it blinks. They see everything. They know everything. And now they want us to know it. The Lithari leader leaned forward. Then we must talk to them. Quickly, before more ships arrive. But another voice, deep, tired, and old, spoke through the council room's speakers. It was the Archive Mind, an ancient AI that stored history for the Galactic Council. It rarely spoke. They do not seek to talk. They are demonstrating. The my room froze. This is not an invasion. This is a message. They want us to know that the balance of power is gone. They want us to feel small. Someone whispered, "It's working." Across the galaxy, panic spread fast. Trade routes paused. Outer colonies sent frightened messages. Pirate fleets vanished. Even the criminal rings in deep space went silent. Everyone knew. The humans had changed the game. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, the ships stood still. Silent giants with glowing markings like sleeping gods. One of them was large enough to block a moon's light. No weapons fired, no armies moved. They didn't need to. The Galactic Council had been shattered not by war, but by the idea of war, because these ships didn't make sense. And in space, anything that didn't make sense was feared. Inside one of the human ships, a figure watched the stars through a wide screen. No name was spoken. No rank announced. Only one sentence left their lips. Let them feel what it's like to be watched by something stronger. Back on the council station, a final report came in. A fourth ship was now moving, but not toward them. It was heading to the core worlds, and this time, the humans weren't silent. They sent one clear message. The council's time is over. Echoes of power. The fourth ship moved without effort, sliding across space like light over water. It passed through defense nets, sensor barriers, and warning zones without slowing down. Nothing touched it. Nothing could. On the surface of Delmos Prime, one of the Council's richest core worlds, people looked up. The sky shimmered. A shadow spread slowly across the capital. Some thought it was an eclipse. Then they saw the ship. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It only hovered, massive, quiet, and too smooth to be built by known machines. Its surface shifted like glass, changing shape slightly every few seconds. Symbols glowed on its hull, none of which the Council's language systems could read. People froze in streets. Military bases locked down. Pilots ran to their ships but received a strange message on every screen. Stand down. This is not war, yet. On the Council station, the Core 5 received the same broadcast, but this time, it was a live message. Human appeared on their screen, not armored, not armed, dressed simply, standing in a quiet room. Calm eyes, no fear. We did not disappear, we prepared. While you debated over borders and mining rights, we built. While you counted votes, we studied the void. He paused, then added, You left us behind. Now, we've gone ahead. The transmission ended. Silence. Again. Across the galaxy, a shift began. Worlds that once followed the Council started asking questions. Trade networks flickered. Ships refused Council orders. Whole systems went quiet, choosing to wait. To watch Earth. The message had worked. It was not about destruction. It was about presence. Earth had shown it could walk through every locked door. float above any capital, speak on any channel, and do it without raising a single weapon. But the fear ran deeper than just power. It came from the truth behind the human ships. They were impossible. Ships that could fold space without jump drives, hulls that absorbed scans, engines that bent time, and no one knew how. Inside one council research lab, a team tried to recreate the energy readings. Machines overheated. 2 exploded. One scientist stared at the results, whispering, "This should be breaking the laws of physics." Back on Deimos Prime, the giant ship still floated. Children watched it like a silent star. Soldiers waited for orders they knew were useless. And high in orbit, the ship powered a single beam of light. Not a weapon, but a display. It showed Earth, not Earth's armies, not its cities, just the people, smiling, farming, building, living without fear. It was the final message the council did not expect. We are not here to conquer. We are here to remind you. We exist. And that message shook more thrones than 1,000 missiles ever could. Breaking the silence. The Galactic Council had never faced anything like this. For thousands of years they had been the center of power, giving laws, creating alliances, and keeping the peace. But now, they had no control, and worse, no answers. Inside, the main chamber, the Core 5 argued louder than ever. "This is dangerous," shouted the scaled leader from the Quarren line. "If we allow Earth to move freely, others will follow." "But we cannot stop them," replied the Lithari. "Not with weapons, not with words, not with anything we have." The archive mind interrupted again. 12 outer systems have paused all communication. 3 trade guilds refuse council taxes, and 5 military fleets have turned back to their homeworlds. The meaning was clear. The council was falling, quietly but fast. On a desert planet called Verdun 4, a small group of alien farmers stood by their homes. Above them, a human ship hovered low, just like the one seen above Deimos Prime. But instead of fear, the people below felt something strange. Hope. The ship opened a signal channel and spoke in their native tongue. "We are not your rulers. We are your neighbors. The council forgot you. We did not." The villagers had no power, no weapons, but they had eyes, and they saw what the humans did not do. No demands, no invasions, no soldiers, only presence. In a deep corner of the galaxy, a hidden council base launched a secret weapon toward Earth's solar system. A long-range kinetic missile, silent and fast, meant to destroy from afar. It never reached. Halfway through its path, it vanished. No explosion, no debris. The launch station received only a return message. "That was your one mistake. Do not try again." Panic spread through the secret base. Within an hour, it shut down all operations and wiped its own files. The staff fled. The humans had spoken once more. Meanwhile, many species across the galaxy started asking, "What do the humans want?" That question reached Earth itself. In a large, human command room, several figures gathered around a glowing table. They watched the council's panic, the fear, and the silence growing deeper. One human, older and calm, spoke at last. "They fear we want their worlds." Another replied, "Let them. But we don't want their dirt. We want their respect." The leader nodded. "Then we keep showing what we are." He pointed at a screen showing Verdun 4, where a human drone was dropping farming supplies and water filters for the villagers. No war, no noise, just action. This was Earth's new strategy. Shock them with strength, win them with kindness. Back at the council, reports continued to pour in. A deep space freighter refused inspection and requested Earth escort instead. A border colony voted to leave council protection and signed a message of peace to Earth. And a well-known merchant clan offered full access to their trade routes, only to the humans. The Lithari leader stared at the growing list. "This is not war," she said slowly. The feathered envoy beside her nodded. "It's something worse. They're being better than us. The council chamber went silent. Again, because no one knew how to fight a power that didn't use violence. No explosions, no invasions, just truth, and ships beyond all logic. A message in secret deep inside the Galactic Council station, a single door opened quietly. No guards, no attention, just a shadow slipping through the metal hallway. It was Rilo, a young envoy from the peaceful Yalari species. He wasn't important. He didn't hold power. But he had something the others didn't, curiosity. While other council members argued, Rilo watched. He studied the human ships. He listened to their messages. And now, he had made a decision. He would contact them. Alone. Using an old private transmitter buried in the archives, Rilo sent out a message toward Earth's edge. This is Envoy Rilo of the Council. I do not bring threats. I do not ask for forgiveness. I ask to understand. Why now? Why show yourselves? He expected silence or maybe nothing at all, but after only 6 minutes his console blinked. A message returned. No encryption, no tricks, just words. Because you asked. Rilo's breath caught in his throat. The humans had heard him. Then a second message followed. Prepare for contact. 1 ship. No weapons. 1 hour. Exactly. 60 minutes later, a ripple passed through the edge of council space. Not a sound, not a flash. Just presence. A small human vessel appeared near Rilo's station. Not large like the others. Sleek. Silver. Quiet. It docked without request. Security. Forces panicked, but Rilo stopped them. Stand down, this is my call. From the ship, a single human stepped out. No armor, no weapons, just a smooth uniform and a calm look. Envoy Rilo? The human asked. Yes, Rilo answered, his voice shaking slightly. I didn't think anyone would come. We listen when it matters, the human said. They walked together into the station. Other envoys watched from behind walls, unsure whether to fear or follow. Inside a private chamber, Rilo asked the question again. Why now? The human looked at him calmly. Because we waited long enough. Rilo leaned forward. Waited. For what? For the right time. For the galaxy to see the truth the council doesn't lead. It controls. Rilo swallowed hard. Then, you want to replace us? No, the human said. We want something better. For everyone. He pulled out a small cube and placed it on the table. It activated a hologram showing a blueprint. Not of a ship, not of a weapon, but of a network, trade, travel, energy, free knowledge, medical help, open skies for all species, council, or, not Rilo stared. This is your plan? The human nodded. We won't force it. But those who ask, we will help. Rilo felt his heart race. He knew the council would see this as a threat. But his mind whispered something else, a chance. He looked the human in the eyes. Then I will ask. The human simply smiled. Then we will begin. Hours later, Rilo returned to his office. He deleted all camera records, erased all logs, but one message remained locked behind his personal seal. I met them. They are not monsters. They are not invaders. They are something new. Far from the council's reach, the human ship returned to space, leaving no trace except one spark, a quiet alliance, the first of many. The silent collapse in. The days after Rilo's secret meeting, small changes began across the galaxy. Not loud, not violent, just quiet decisions, one after another. The colony of Krellin 9 turned off its council relay and sent a request to Earth. It asked for water filters and power grids. 2 mining moons near the Galactic Nebula announced they would trade, only with human ships, no council taxes, no middlemen. On the edge of neutral space, an old beacon began broadcasting a simple message every hour. Humans helped us. They asked for nothing. Each signal was like a crack in a frozen wall, and the wall was the Galactic Council, Inside the council chamber, arguments turned into shouting. "They're spreading like a disease," yelled the Quran ambassador. "We must strike." "With what?" snapped the Lithari envoy. "Every weapon we have, they've already seen. Every defense they pass through like wind." The archive mind interrupted again. Its voice remained calm, but its words brought panic. 9 more systems have left council jurisdiction in the last hour. 4 military fleets have gone silent. 1 fleet has joined Earth ships for protection. The chamber shook with fear. A younger envoy stood and said what others were afraid to say. "We are no longer leading. We're just reacting." No one argued, because it was true. Meanwhile, on Earth's moon base, leaders from multiple human divisions met in a secure room. Reports lit up the screens, requests from over 40 different systems asking for assistance, technology, or simply answers. "We didn't fire a single shot," one human whispered. Another added, "We didn't need to. They came to us." The human in charge, calm, focused, nodded. "Now it's time for the message." Everyone turned toward the center screen. "Are we ready?" he asked. "Yes, sir. All systems standing by. We'll hit every frequency at once." The message would go out in every language, every signal type, every corner of space. But it wasn't a threat. It was something more powerful. On the day the message launched, stars across the galaxy seemed to flicker as screens lit up everywhere, from the frozen moons of the North Rim to the golden halls of the Council itself. A human appeared, standing in open light, speaking clearly. "We are the children of Earth. We were told to stay silent. We were told to remain still. But we chose to grow in the shadows. Now we step into the light. We do not come to conquer. We come to connect. You may fear what you don't understand, but you will not be ignored. To those who wish to build a better galaxy, we offer our hand. To those who try to stop the future, you'll be standing alone." Then the screen faded. Nothing else followed. No fleet. No demand. Just a choice. That night on hundreds of worlds, the people talked. Not about fear, not about war, but about hope. They had seen ships that made no sense, powered by energy they could not name, guided by minds they could not predict. But behind those ships were people, humans, offering something different. A future where no one was forgotten, and for many that was worth more than any empire. A new star rises. Weeks passed. The message from Earth still echoed across the stars. Not a warning, not a threat, just a choice. And that choice changed everything. World by world, the old walls began to fall. On Verdun 4, the villagers who once lived in silence now had clean water, power, and schools. They flew the human banner, not as slaves, but as friends. On Drellis Station, merchants tore down the council's tax offices and replaced them with free ports, run by local workers, supported by human tech. On mining colonies, engineers began using Earth's blueprints to fix broken systems the council never had time for. And through all of it, Earth's ships stayed above, watching, guiding, never ruling. Inside the council, the Core 5 met one last time. The chamber was quiet now. Empty seats, dead screens. Only half the members had returned. "This is the end," said the Lithari leader, her voice tired. "The council no longer rules. We are just history now." The Quran, once full of rage, now sat in silence. "They didn't fire a single shot." "No," the feathered envoy whispered. "They didn't need to." For the first time, the leaders of the old galaxy understood. Power wasn't always loud. Sometimes it arrived in silence. Sometimes it simply replaced you. High above Earth's moon, Earth Fleet Command opened a new transmission line, this time not in secret, but for all to hear. Across the stars, species of all kinds tuned in. Former allies, enemies, and strangers. A human voice spoke, calmly. "We are Earth. We do not claim thrones. We build bridges. To those who reach out, we will answer. To those who seek control, we will not kneel." This galaxy belongs to all, not just to a council, not just to us. And with that, Earth officially opened the United Systems Accord, a new alliance made not of fear or power, but of choice. In the first day, 43 worlds joined. By the end of the week, 113 had signed in. Even some former council members signed, quietly but willingly. Relo, the young envoy who had sent the first message, was named the Accord's first ambassador of peace. He stood beside human leaders not as a servant but as a friend. In the stars, Earth's ships still flew, silent, strong, a symbol that one species, once called weak, once left behind, had done the impossible. They had broken no laws of physics. They had rewritten them. But the greatest thing they had done? They changed the galaxy without firing a single shot. And as their flag waved above distant worlds, one message remained. We are here not to rule, but to remind you humanity remembers.